Hey people of VC, it's Andy at Cloudy and Milder. Got just a general rock and metal collection update. Um, Books and CDs in this one. I'm going to split this into two parts because I've got quite a few CDs I've been accruing, and it's going to be a long video. Otherwise, first off, some books. So I think it was Vinylizer. John had recommended this book to me a while back, and I managed to find a copy, and it's the Rock Detector A to Z of 80s rock, and it's an absolutely fantastic book. I love books like this. It's not really something you can sit down and read, but reference books and just facts and figures and albums and who was on what. I lap all that stuff up, and I absolutely love it. And when I found this one, I also found that it was part of a series, and quickly tracked down and picked up a copy of Rock Detector A to Z of thrash metal as well. And this actually comes with a CD of a lot of bands that I've not really heard too much about. They look to be songs from late 90s, early 2000. Scariot, Atomizer, Deceased, Merendine, Atomici, God Forbid, Hades, Agent Steel I've heard of, Arch Enemy I've heard of, Nevermore I've heard of. But yeah, it's a book with a CD. I gave it a listen. It's got some quite good stuff on it. Again, exactly the same kind of format. Band, where they're from, lineup, and a brief bio of the band and other bands that people may well have gone on to play in. Again, killer stuff. And third one I got in the series is power metal. Now there's a little bit of an overlap between the 80s rock and power metal and thrash metal books, but they look good on the shelf together. So your 80s rock will cover all your hair metal and general hard rock. Your thrash metal, obviously, your big four and the whole thrash movement. And then the power metal actually covers more than just power metal. You can see Judas Priest on the front, Iron Maiden, and a lot of the new wave British heavy metal bands come into power metal. Their description here is not power metal in the as you'd think of maybe European power metal or just the US power metal genre, but metal with a bit of oomph. I think is kind of how they describe it. But it's a great book as well. But between the three of them, pretty much most bases covered and things that I've picked up. So they're a good read if you see them. There is also I think there's a death metal and a black metal in the series as well, but not interested in picking any of those up, to be honest. Onto the CDs. Now the first two or three have been shown by quite a few people. I think across the music community on YouTube we've probably bought most of the copies. The first one is this great 2 CD set, New Wave of British Heavy Metal, shown multiple times. I think Final Transmission was the first one to show this, and Dude 1973 I think has also picked this one up as well. So it's 2 CDs, it's 40 tracks, it's well worth it, fairly cheap on Amazon. I picked up the thrash metal album in the same series. Again, it's this time it's 36 tracks across 2 CDs, only about £7 or £8. And also there's a power metal one as well. There's quite a bit of crossover here. So there's Halloween is on both of these, Running Wild is on both of these. So the boundaries are a little bit blurred between what they think thrash metal and power metal is. But these are great CDs, certainly for the car, and just want to throw something on and have some background music. Now, Operation Mindcrime. Believe it or not, picking up the CD coincides with the first time I have listened to this album all the way through, and this is a 2-disc edition. Disc 1 has obviously got Operation Mindcrime, and 2 bonus tracks, and the bonus CD has the album performed at the Hammersmith Odeon in 1990. Now, why is it taking me so long to pick this up? I honestly don't know. I've been looking for this. In fact, I haven't been looking for this. I used to see this on vinyl quite a lot and thought it was one of those albums that I would always get around to owning. And then when I started actually thinking about I should get around to owning it, I never see it anymore. Why have I bought it now on CD? Well, I think September, October time, or certainly later this year, Geoff Tate is coming to Edinburgh and he's doing the 30th anniversary tour of Operation Mindcrime, and he's doing the album start to finish. And even though I'm not familiar with it, I realise it's probably going to be a great opportunity, a great experience to go and see it. So I thought I'd better familiarise myself with the album first. So I've picked up the CD version. I really enjoy it as an album. I had to read up about what the whole concept was, and I like the concept. I think it's really, really good. The whole it kind of starts at the end and then has him, Nicky, I think his name is, slowly remembering what's happened up to the point where he basically ends up in the hospital again, if I've interpreted it correctly. I've not listened to it a great deal. I don't really get why so many people think this is as fantastic an album as it is, but you know, your opinion, my opinion, we all have different opinions. It doesn't really matter, but it's really enjoyable album. I love the vocals on here, great vocals on there. So finally done that. Now in end of August, bank holiday weekend in the UK, there's a heavy metal festival that's taking place in Edinburgh called Heavy Scotland, and it's the second year it's taking place. And I didn't go last year, and I kind of regretted it because a mate of mine did, and he said it was really good. So I bought tickets in advance this year, and I bought the tickets, and I didn't. Bit of a gamble because I didn't know who was playing at the time, and slowly but surely they've released all the bands, and I'll put a picture of it up here so you can see who's on there. And there's quite a few sort of death metal bands on there. The bands I'm most interested in are that I want to see are Nervosa. I've got an album of theirs. It's okay, but I think they'd be great live. Gamma Bomb, really, really want to see Gamma Bomb, and that's probably about it from the bands that I know on there. So the headliners are Children of Bodom and Carcass, and so I thought I would give them a go, and it turns out I quite like them. I picked up a best of Carcass. It's got 12 tracks. If you're able to read that. And it's okay. It's certainly listenable. I've kind of avoided most death metal most of my life and lived a happy life as a result. But you know, I can check that on and give it a listen, and it's not too bad. I'm probably just going to stick to having a best of, to be honest with you, and so there'll be at least a few songs that they play that hopefully I will recognise. And with Children of Bodom, I couldn't find a decent compilation or best of, so I ended up going on Amazon Marketplace and looking for a few second-hand CDs, and I picked up I think this is the first 3 albums, and these are the special editions from 2008, I believe. Yeah, so first up, Something Wild, then Hatebreeder, and the one that I've enjoyed the most so far is Follow the Reaper. So I'm quite looking forward to seeing those now. Probably try and check out a few of the other bands as well before I go, but I think it'll be a good experience. So a lot of sort of maybe black and death metal, and whereas it's not really my thing, you know, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Right, another artist that I've kind of dived 2 feet into as well recently is Rob Zombie. So I Metal Mickey Mike picked this up in a cheap cafe hall that he went to, and He said he didn't want it. I said, I don't know Rob Zombie. I'll have a listen to it, and he gave it to me. So thanks again for that, Mike. And just raise a wee glass to Alfie. Sorry for your loss, mate, and just let you know I'm thinking about you, and you know, all the best. And yeah, really sorry to hear about Alfie. So this is the Sinister Urge from 2001, and I thought this was amazing. I couldn't believe that I'd been blinked and not heard any of this before. Kind of, I can't remember how I described it now. So I got introduced to Marilyn Manson last year and really liked some of that. It's kind of in that vein. I don't know. I don't know who came first. I guess Rob Zombie probably came first. And at one point I was thinking this sounds a lot like Ozzy as well, Ozzy Osbourne. Then I found out after, I think it's Ironhead, track 5 on here actually is Ozzy Osbourne singing on it. But yeah, that blew me away how much I enjoyed that. So not doing things by halves, I kind of dived in and picked up Hellbilly, what's it called? Hellbilly Deluxe Edition, or Hellbilly Deluxe, I don't know if that's the name of the song or the so I'm not too familiar, and these ones now I'm going to show. I couldn't, because I've listened to them fairly closely together. I can't remember which tracks off which of them, but I don't think I've heard a song I don't like. This is American made music to Strip By. Great song name. This is quite an interesting digipack style cover with the kind of the booklet stuck in the inside cover. Great artwork on that as well. So that was a couple I picked up, and then there was an offer. So there's a company called Music Magpie. I don't know if they're worldwide. I think they're based in Germany, and they're one of these online places that allow you to price up a load of CDs, send them off, and they'll basically take them off your hands for less than market value, but an easy way of selling things individually, especially if you've got some crap that won't sell on eBay. But they also sell things really cheap, and I got a mail shot from them saying that they had a 4 for £6 offer on second-hand CDs. I thought I'd take a look. Didn't expect to find anything, but I managed to scrape together an order of 4, and that included another Rob Zombie. This is Educated Horses from 2006. So Ozzy Osbourne Scream. Now this is the first Ozzy Osbourne, post-80s Ozzy Osbourne album I actually own or really listen to, and I thought it was really, really good. I'm a latecomer to Ozzy. Never really clicked with his vocal style, certainly during the 80s. Only Had No Rest for the Wicked. I've picked up a few of his other 80s albums since, but he's not somebody I really listen to or play a lot. But I really love the sound of the music on this one. It's kind of a lot more chugging riffs, really, and the solos are really good on it as well. And I think he sounds pretty good as well on this. I don't know where Scream fits in people's favourite albums. Interesting cover on here as well. I'm not sure if it's going to come across too well, but there's kind of like an embossed printing on it. Trying to get the light. Yeah, see a little bit of it all over. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed that. So that was a nice surprise, and not bad for what, £1.25. And I picked up a couple more Marilyn Manson albums as well. This one is apparently it's an EP, not an album. Although there's 15 tracks listed, I think there's only about 5 or 6 songs on here, and between each song there's some very bizarre, macabre, distorted dialogue going on. I had a little read up about it. It's don't think it's something I'm going to play a lot. It's okay. It's got the Sweet Dreams cover on it, which I quite liked actually. Yeah, not fantastic. I like sort of his other albums. This is really good as well. So this is Mechanical Animals. Blue CD case. Interesting. Not seen that before. So yeah. So now I've got probably 4 or 5 Marilyn Manson albums, and again, not something I listen to a fantastic amount, but the Rob Zombie kicks kind of got me going back and listening to that again. Last 3, we're getting there. This is why I'm splitting it. I've been on a bit of an Anthrax kick as well, but not the mainstream Anthrax stuff. I've not over listened to it, but I generally don't listen to things like Spreading the Disease and Among the Living and State of Euphoria too often anymore, because I'm so familiar with it. So when I wanted to get into Anthrax, I got into John Bush Anthrax last year and really enjoyed it after having put it off. If you're one of those people that just avoids it because you think it's John Bush and it's not Joey Belladonna, give it a go. Okay, it's not the same Anthrax, but it's a good Anthrax still. But having said that, this has got Joey Belladonna on it. This is the Attack of the Killer Bees. I quite like this, having this on CD, because I have most of the tracks on here. It's a lot of B-sides. I have a lot of the tracks on here actually on 12-inch singles from the 80s. Version of Chromatic Death, Stormtroopers of Death, Chromatic Death on here. I'm the Man 91 version, could probably do without, but things like Parasite, Pipeline, Sets, Belly of the Beast, it's all good stuff, like it. So that's Attack of the Killer Bees, and then Return of the Killer A's is it's not a great compilation, to be honest with you. It is interesting in that it contains at least 1 track off every single album up to when this was released in 1999. But what I don't like is it's kind of split into 2 halves. The first 8 or 9 tracks are kind of all John Bush era, and then the next, or the remainder of them are Joey Belladonna, and then the final one is Mount Thrashing Mad, Neil Turbin. I kind of wish they'd mixed it up a little bit. I don't know why they have to do it in these kind of 2 halves. Who knows? Maybe you guys know. Ball of Confusion is an interesting song, because that actually has John Bush and Joey Belladonna singing on it, and Dan Lilker, who was on the first album, playing bass on that song as well. So it's got some interesting highlights, but again, not something I think I play a lot. And one album that did surprise me. So this is the Greater of Two Evils, and this is Anthrax classics from the Joey Belladonna era, re-recorded with John Bush on vocals. And I thought this would either I thought I would probably not like it, and in fact the only song on here I really don't think works with John Bush is Caught in the Mosh, and the others are actually he does a really good job of it. I always wondered, so I figured they would have to get somebody in, or when they got John Bush in, he would have to be able to sing the older songs. Obviously I'm never going to hear him live singing those now, so I was quite I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I would. Yeah, very different from Joey Belladonna, but different enough to keep me interested and not make me think it's just horrendous. So that's the last one. I don't think I've got anything else to show now. I will follow this up in a couple of days with a non-80s vinyl update. I've got a handful of those to show as well. I'm going to stop it there. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of this haul, and I will, well, I say haul, it's lots of hauls collated together. I'm babbling. Cheers. Bye.